So the Maimer Veato Tesaveh, we're all acquainted, we know what's going on. So I want to go in for a minute before we read inside to talk about like the Edel, deep center of the big idea. The deep idea. In other words, people talk about a lot of ideas in the Maimer that are more simple, but the gentle, the finesse is people stay away from it. So let's go into it. And I don't know if I have the words to how clear I'm going to be, but I'm going to try to be clear about it. So, there's an idea in Hasidus, the Rebbe speaks about this, that whenever you introduce something new to a person, when we say something new, it means something that's unnatural. We erase some of the person's truth. We're erasing some of the person's truth. In other words, why is it so important for a Yid to live a Jewish life? Because if you live a Jewish life, then you're in your truth. That's your natural place. You take a Yid, and it's Yisrael shegolu me'al shulchan avim. They're in exile. The fact that they're in exile, their part of them is being diminished. They're being crushed. Now, this idea could be in a big idea. It could also be in a very gentle way, in a very ruchni as the way. What's in other words? So in a big way, when the Yidden came to Har Sinai, so we know Chazal tell us that Kof Aleim Har Kegigis, Hashem forced them. He picked a mountain on top of their heads, and they said Nasa v'nishma. So it's wonderful that they said Nasa v'nishma, but when they said Nasa v'nishma, they were also squashing. Part of them was being squashed. It wasn't so natural. Now the Rebbe says, we say in Hasidus that there are different reasons why people feel so strongly about their Yiddishkeit. There are different reasons. One reason is because we have a neshama, and our neshama has a shoyrish, and the shoyrish of our neshama sees Hashem. So the fact that our neshama sees Hashem, it drips a little bit into us. That, and I'll say this in a rash way, that even though be'emes, we all understand that logically you can't prove Elikus. Like ultimately, you have to make a choice. You have to say, the atheist doesn't have a proof that he doesn't exist because Hashem's existence is a spiritual existence. Those who believe they don't have a physical proof, it's like a spiritual feeling. So why does one person choose this and the other person chooses that? Because it's a choice. So because my neshama sees Elikus, that's why I choose to believe. That's why I choose to believe. Okay? Now.
But maybe it's not belief, maybe you just know. Your neshama sees
Some
it.
people is more spiritual sensitive. Some people are spiritual sensitive.
Okay, the Mendel here. Now, so we're trying to line up this concept. Now, then there's a deeper in you. Who am I? I'm a chelek alakam mimah. How could I denounce the Eibishter if that's who I am? It's not that I see Elikus. It's not that, I saw the Rebbe, I saw this, I saw... who am I? I can't denounce my Metzius. I'm a part of the Eibishter, so that's why I can't That's why the Eibishter is. That's why I embrace. I choose the Eibishter. So now, think of what the Rebbe is saying here is like this. Let's talk for a minute about the difference between these two approaches. One is that I see a likus. My neshama l'mayla sees a likus. Mazlayu shosi. Neshama l'mayla. And the other, that's why I embrace Hashem. And the other is because, who am I? I am a chelik el gamimah. So how could I denounce the Eibishter? What's the difference between these two? So the Rebbe says, in a very subtle way, when you see something, even though it's very convincing, it's still something outside of you. So therefore, I can ultimately still choose. It's still not my essence. I'll just tell you, I have a very interesting phenomenon, very interesting thing I see with kids. I'll say, something happened. You threw snow at someone. They're like, no, I didn't. He threw at me. I'm like, there's a video. I didn't look at it, but, right? This is it. Should we check? We're going to watch the video. The video is going to show that he threw the snow. And he's still going to say, I didn't. He's looking at it. This is Klor. Right? In other words, even what you see is still not as deep as who I am. What you see is still an outside influence. In a very, very delicate way, an outside influence that it should affect you is still a racing part of you. Okay, it's still a racing part of you. I was saying before. In other words, what does it mean it's a racing part? If I want to live my life a certain way, and you're going to show me proof that I'm wrong, you're erasing me. I still want to live my life a different way. You showed me proof I'm stuck. But I'm not in harmony with it. But when you say, but you're chelik halakam do. The Eibishter is you. So then, to connect with the Eibishter is fully, you're not erasing any part of the person. This is the most natural place. Of course I'm Shemer Torah mitzvahs. This is one part, okay? This is one step by step. Now, on the other side, we have, let's say, 3 types of Yidden. You have Yidden, or whatever, 3 or 4, the Rebbe speaks a few levels. You have a Yid, like this, he's cold to Yiddishkeit. Suddenly, there's a matzav of some October 7, mit amol, as Yiddishkeit comes, right? He's ready to be Moshe Nefesh. Right? You have Yidden that they live Yiddishkeit, but they live Yiddishkeit. They live Yiddishkeit in a relaxed way. They're not living intense Yiddishkeit. When you look at them, it's not like there's no Mesiras Nefesh, right? They're fine, so good. Then you have Yidden, and this is where the Rebbe is really going. Is how does the Mesiras Nefesh, how do you bring a person to a point that they're so psyched about Yiddishkeit that their actions, every moment, every part of their life is going to be in a Mesiras Nefesh zone? How do you do that? Like, that's the ultimate.
Come again.
Right? That's the
Like a ger lives like that every day.
Now let's use a little bit the terms of Chassidus. Mesiras Nefesh is a revelation of the Etzem HaNeshama. Chair is broken. No, you want to try it?
He doesn't like Amazon.
No, that one's broken. This one not. Right? Mesiras Nefesh is a revelation of Etzem HaNeshama. But we have Koiches HaGiluyim. Koiches HaGiluyim, Machshava, Dibur, Maaseh, are not, they're the day-to-day stuff. It's not dying for the Eibishter, it's living for the Eibishter. So you have people who are comfortable dying for the Eibishter, but living for the Eibishter comes so we could share the book. But that's too much. Says the Rebbe Cheved, it's two more steps. I know.
Which one takes more commitment?
I know it's a little bit edel. It's a little bit edel still. Says the Rebbe. We're going to see where we're going to start. In order to live life, that every part of you, machshava, dibur, u'maaseh, the koiches hageloyim should be on fire. That's only possible if you're etzem haneshama, pure etzem haneshama. The part that is Hashem is revealed. Not, I'm sorry, I don't feel like I'm like presenting it clearly, right? I want to go back to what I said when I started, right? In other words, a Mesiras Nefesh event is like a vision. A vision is so intense that it cancels you. It erases you. Right? In other words, right? You're born, a person who had a near-death experience, whatever you want to call it, right? The near-death experience, it completely, so he's not the same guy. That's unnatural. And for whatever reason, there's an end to that, to the reach of that type of experience. The ultimate experience is recognizing the deepest core, which is higher than, which is greater than that kind of vision. It's even greater than that kind of vision. It's my pure essence. To the pure essence, in the most natural state, every part of me feels at home in being connected with the Eibishter. It's not a fight anymore. Let me go to where does the Rebbe go with this? Maybe it'll be more clear. Part of the Maimer of Veato Tesaveh says that we gift Moshe Rabbeinu. V'yikcho elecha, we gift Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Rebbe says, what's the gift? What are we giving Moshe Rabbeinu? He says, you know what? We're gifting him. When Moshe Rabbeinu reveals our essence, it's like it's superimposed. It's like a vision. Meaning, there's a limit. There's an end. The classic example that everybody talks about in the Maimer is the Rebbe says that in Russia, there were people that were Mesiras Nefesh for Yiddishkeit, and then when they came to America, suddenly they're chilled.
After 3 years.
Right? In a certain way.
After the Erla.
Right? In a certain way, what's the Rebbe saying? In other words, the impact of the Raya Mehemna, it could be that it's like a vision. But if a Yid comes along, and he says, you know, the Rebbe gifted me with something. Now I want to take it into my Koiches HaGeloyim. I don't want it to be like a vision. I want to internalize it in such a way that this is my way of being. This is my most natural state to be a Jew.
We got a gift or we gave?
Well, one second. So then what we do, we take the gift that the Rebbe gave us, that came from the external part of Atmos HaNeshama. Atmos HaNeshama, the way it makes a blitz. Atmos HaNeshama, the way it shows up when someone says, bow to the idol. So, no, Vayikatz kiyoshin Hashem. Suddenly, what do you mean? But I'm a Jew. That's what we get from the Rebbe. And then we turn around through our avodah and we say, thank you for the gift, and we're going to take it to the deeper level. Mamish, to the etzem. What does etzem mean? Etzem means...
So only the Nasi could empower a shliach to be Mesiras Nefesh?
No, one second. What does it mean? What's the essence mean? Essence is the essence of all of me. My machshava, this is what I live in everything that I do. I'm a Jew through and through in everything. Not only in difficult circumstances, even in America, even with luxury, I'm a Jew. That's the gift. The Rebbe gives it to us as a vision, as a strike, as a blitz, which is Etzem HaNeshama, but the Etzem, the way, again, the way, when it shows up, it erases part of you.
But Etzem, you said was lighted.
It's the chitzonius of Etzem. It's you know what the way the Rebbe explains it in the Maimer? It's the Etzem HaNeshama that's limited in being L'mayla Me'es Chalkus. In other words, what am I? I'm the essence, so I can't get involved in details. Because I'm the and we turn around and we bring it into the day to day. So we bring an ilui. It's yeah.
Like you said, like we have different levels.
No.
Sorry, this lesson. Because like what I erase if I got gift, opposite, it became bigger fish.
When we come to that ultimate level, we're not erased. That's when we're natural self. Right? In other words, someone brings you into a company and they say, in order to be successful here, when you market, we're going to give you a script. Right? This is what you have to say. And you're like, I know how to talk on the phone. Don't tell me what to say. So listen, buddy. This is the way this works. You sign up. This is what you're going to say. You're masking, yes or no. So I got to erase. I got to shut my mouth. I got to close all my impulse. Then it's successful. And then you say, wow, this really works. Then you're bringing in another guy, and you're like, listen, fellow, this is what you're going to do. Right? Because this really works. Now, says Nesatzim, they're like, this is me. I'm in it. It's like when I started davening for the Yomud, I don't need to learn. You don't have to teach me Nusach. I know Nusach. Then I sat down by Noach Shal, right? I'm like, let me erase everything I ever learned. Let's start again. But, right? What the Rebbe is saying is, in Russia there was an override. Now let's go back to the Mordechai story for a minute. The Rebbe says when you look at the story of Mordechai, there's before the Gzeira and after the Gzeira. The Mesiras Nefesh that the Yidden had the whole year, that was because of the oppression. Like Ola Daitam Achshavas Chutz, they didn't think to convert. If they would have converted, they wouldn't be killed by Haman, by the decree. But it didn't occur to them. So that whole year, Mordechai was Makil Kehillas and everything that he did, that was under duress. But then, after the victory, now Ersh shows up the Pasuk, V'kibel HaYehudim es asher echelu l'asais. Now they were V'kibel HaYehudim on their own. Now they said, Yiddishkeit, I like it. This is the natural state.
I mean, it only took 1,000 years. I mean, from Risha until Purim. How many years is that?
Also the conditions. In other words, really, the V'kibel HaYehudim happened when the Yidden they had Mishnah Lamelech and the Queen and Yehudim is Eir and Simcha. And there they were V'kibel Yehudim. That's what the Rebbe is saying.
It's Metorachos.
Right, that in America. So we have to read a little bit inside to see the way the Rebbe presents these edel things, and also just to think about our matzav, right, where we are, that in a certain way, it's contrived, in a certain way. When we saw the Rebbe, it was a blitz. It was being superimposed. How could you refuse it? The Yetzer Hara after Gimel Tammuz was there's no accountability anymore. It's hefkerus.
Nichle.
Right, it's hefkerus.
There's a void.
Right, I could do whatever I want. There's no accountability.
Nobody's in charge.
Right, and people kochzach and gashmias and whatever. Right, there's harchava. We're not in a state of oppression. So our gift to the Rebbe is to go back and show him that what he inspired in us, which in a certain way was erasing us. Because when we stood in his presence, we lost our identity. Right? You can't say, so now when the Rebbe is hidden, when our identity is expressed and we will embrace, we say, oh, this is what I want in a natural sense. Now that's our gift back to the Rebbe. That's the V'yikchu Eilecha Shemen. The Rebbe can never give it to us without it being a blitz. As long as he's giving it, it's overpowering and it's shattering our mitzias. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be.
I think few stories people refuse to go to Rebbe because they know it will change their life.
So I'll tell you a Maisa. Last week, I wasn't here Shabbos, so last week in the project Pekutei Sichos, right? So I go to the website, on my phone, and I see one of the options, you could hear the Sikha from this one, from that one. Mm-hmm. One of the options last week was the Rebbe.
Not bad.
You could hear it from the Rebbe.
Wow.
So I click, I hear it from the Rebbe. Anyway, the way the Rebbe lays it out, what should I tell you? It's so geschmack, it's unbelievable. And then the Rebbe goes in. There are other parts there that are not in the likud, right? So the Rebbe says that in the menorah, he caught others by a mistake. In other words, some say that when the Rambam drew the cups on the menorah upside down, it was a mistake.
Should have been our way.
Right, and the Rebbe says no, the Fedish not, and they made a mistake.
They made a mistake.
And the Eibishter, to get even with me, he caught me that I made a mistake. And the Rebbe also throws in about the luchos, that people make a mistake about the luchos,
What mistake they make?
that they the round tops.
Oh, yeah.
The Rebbe says because in the clay kodesh, you can't have any hollow, any empty space. Everything has to be utilized. It has to be mullet and all. Right, like in the menorah, they always every night of the year they put the amount of oil for Chedesh Tevis, right? It always has to be full. Anyway, so the Rebbe says that when he printed the Siddur, when the Frierdiker Rebbe printed the Siddur in America, the Rebbe says I was ich hab geführt Balabatischkeit on the printing, whatever it was, and we put in the Aleph base page with Nekudas. And the Rebbe says, I did research about how to put it in the Nekudas, what order. And the way it is, there are 10 Tnuas, and they go in pairs, Tnua G'doila, Tnua Ktana. Kamatz is the Tnuah G'dayla, Pasach is the Tnuah B'Ktana of the Kamatz. And Tzeireh is the Tnuah G'dayla of the Segel. Is the Tnuah Ktana of Segel? No, Tzeireh is the Tnuah G'dayla.
Oh, that's Segel.
And Segel is the Tnuah Ktana.
Of the Tzeder?
Yeah. And the Rebbe says, look at the word, Tzeireh. The Tzeireh comes first, and then comes the... Anyway, very beautiful, really. And then the Rebbe says, somehow, when it comes to Kubutz and Shuruk, he made a mistake. He put the Tnuah Ktana before the Tnuah G'dayla. And he says that he doesn't understand. He was looking himself in the Sforim, in the Pat. How could he have missed the... He doesn't understand what happened. But he made Shkias Miyavin, he made a mistake.
Wow.
And he hopes that it'll be corrected, which I don't think Adayim Azeh was corrected in the Siddur.
Who was there to correct that?
Huh?
Who was
Right.
there to correct
This
That's a
isn't.
good
So
question.
anyway, so why am I? What happened? So I repeated the story.
Hope you don't mind.
Yeah, I repeated the story with the Maramdim. We're talking because it's the Nekudis and this, and one of the Rebbes, the senior Rebbe, he said, "Oh, that was Rish Chodesh Elul, 81, 82." I'm like, "Yeah, 82 Rish Chodesh Elul. How do you?" So he says that Fabrengen. This is a guy that came to Lubavitch. He says that Fabrengen, I brought my father-in-law for the first time to the Rebbe to Fabrengen. He was one Fabrengen, he became a Lubavitcher.
Wow.
Unbelievable, right? So first of all, for me, it was such an inspiration. Like once he said that, it gave me chayas for the whole day. It makes it so real, you know. Here's Pashut, you know. So I'm saying that the Rebbe, the Pashut, you know,
the
that.
Sikha was working because usually it's compiled with Sefer Sikhas. It could be Yisra from this.
Yeah, but in that particular Sikha, it's all.
Only the stuff.
The Rebbe spoke a Sikha, and he asked the question and answered the answers. And, yeah, it's contained. He spoke about other things. The Rebbe says that when kids were little, the mothers would sing Kamatz Alafah. The Rebbe cries, just gets so emotional, you know. And the Frierdiker Rebbe said that the Kamatz Alafah is the Alaf HaManoichi. You know, like whatever.
And that's what parents are singing to their kids before they go to bed.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, what do we know? What do we know? Akoponim. So I'm saying this in our own words. That when we think about what the Rebbe is saying about art kufa, you know, so let's start from Vov. Could we do that? Could we read a little bit from Vov? In other words, we're going to look in together. We're all familiar with the Maimer and the questions and the, yeah? In other words, everyone around the table learned this Maimer.
Learn through it.
Everyone, yeah? Yeah, Yossi, I mean, you've learned the Maimer before.
I learned this with my kid for the Shabbaton.
Oh, so you see the whole thing?
We got through the whole page, the first page.
The first page.
Yeah, it didn't work out. But Baruch Hashem, I'm glad to see that.
No.
It's a hemshech.
No, so starting from Va'inyan hu. The fact that our emunah is so strong that a person is ready to be meizer nefesh, hu beikir b'ha'emunah shemitzat etzem haneshama. Right? Where does this come from? Because it's our essence. The emunah mitzat zeh shehu roya. The emunah that a person has because we see godliness, mazlayu chazi, hagam shi v'teikev gadol, it's taka a very strong emunah. Ki yadua, it's known, the hahis amtus shemitzad ha're'iyah, he is amtus g'dela b'yoser. Something that you see becomes very real. Taka true, mikol mokom. Kivan shu emunah shelo hi mitzad siba. Why? Because I saw. It's not because I am. It's not as close. It's not necessarily that you're going to be Mesa Nefesh. Because that's my essence. I can't deny it because that's who I am. My emunah in Hashem is who I am. Not because I saw, it's because that's who I am. Okay? Now here comes a little Edelkeit. I know we're not going to get to Alpiza Yesh Levayr. Now we can understand Mashakosa Ba'amayim. The Frierdiker Rebbe and his Maimer of Purim Tofresh Beizayim Purim Cotton, he says that the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu was the faithful shepherd, the one who shepherds faith, who gam b'negeh l'roy Yisrael shebachol der. It's in every generation, every roya Yisrael. The ispashtusa de Moshe sheheim mechaskim esamuna de Yisrael. They fortify our emunah sheyamdu b'mesiras nefesh v'kiyum ateiru mitzvahs. Yeah. In other words, what's the Rebbe saying? The Chayra, Moshe Rabbeinu was more in the emunah space, and the other shepherds are more in the action space. So Moshe is more pure. Let's see.
More fundamental emunah.
Huh?
More fundamental emunah. That's it. So it's cause action.
Right. Lechure ze sheMoshe zon mefarnes es emunah hu al yedei shemashpia liYisrael das belikus. Moshe Rabbeinu increased their wisdom. Shal yedei zeh, through their wisdom, ba ha'emunah b'pnimius, it permeated them. They weren't like the thief standing by the door and asking Hashem for help, because they understood it. However, how do other, in the future generations, what happens? Who? It's not that they learned more, but that they're ready to give up their life. So why does he bring that in the mind? The main, right? The main thing is who zeh sheuzon u'mafarnis es ha'emuna atzmo, that he delivers faith. Shehamuna tia lo yirah k'meishi mitzad ha'giluyim, that the faith that we have in Hashem shouldn't only be mitzad the visions we experience, but ella mitzad etzem haneshama. By Moshe, how does the emunah become internalized? Hu toitzo mizeh sheuzon u'mafarnes es ha'emunah atzma. Moshe Rabbeinu feeds the emunah. Okay, now, like he mentioned earlier, the amshachas ha'emunah b'pnimius hu al yidei giloi ha'искashrus atzmis the etzem haneshama. How do you feed emunah? By revealing the etzem haneshama. Apizeh yesh leinu. The bazeh sheba'adeiris shehutzuchu l'mesiras nefesh b'poyel chisku roi Yisrael as emunah di Yisrael shedei b'mesiras nefesh. Through this, that the later Moshe Rabbeinus brought mesiras nefesh, nizgala ha'inyan derayim mehem the b'inyan zeh oid yoser mi b'Moshe atzmai. They had a more, the revelation of their emunah was much more revealed. Ki amshachas v'gili emunah k'meishi mitzad etzem haneshama ikir is galusa is mesiras nefesh b'poyel. The main thing is through mesiras nefesh. Now, the Rebbe in Zion.
So the closer you were to Moshe Rabbeinu, the more of a theory it was?
No, Moshe Rabbeinu was a theory. In other words, it was an idea.
The further you are from there, the more of a reality becomes?
The more revealed it becomes. In Zion, he brings what we discussed.
Because of the challenge?
Because what's required, Mesiras Nefesh is
because of the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Rebbe brings here that he was paisik on himself. Rabbi say, test, this is the famous.
Very sense that it takes away from people. There is a loser.
Before, yeah.
I will check.
Exactly which line?
What's the replacement?
No, see.
Very simple. Kaf Aleim Hakegidis, of course. I'll show you the spot.
The famous, this is the famous, what's Rebbe talking about being Mashiach.
One second.
Because it's not
No, he brings clear. He brings it clear. I'll show you.
I'll show it to you,
right? Chlor.
etc.
You know, that's why a lot of people rebel.
Every Mashiach is in Zeh, you'll quote this to you, middle of a middle.
So I guess I
What were you for Shabbos?
No, where does he say? Nasa v'nishma, no?
See when Naftali? Naftali Shaw was there?
Especially was there, yeah.
Not your first time, did you?
Yeah.
Such a shtat.
Especially that you like fly back to the 1980s.
I try to look like super.
Further?
Depends on whose house you're at. I was there a few times with my brother. My brother used to live there for over 10 years.
So yeah.
Right here.
I love the simplicity. I love it.
It's like 20 or 30 degrees.
That's warm. It's the air.
Look, it's so nice that you guys came. Now you bring the weather with you. Right? Really?
I drove there a couple times also.
So how long did you drive? 17?
I drove from Montreal for about 18 hours.
No, you see it already?
I will down it later on. I will see.
So I have solar panels.
Try to see.
Solar panels.
Now, yeah. No, I wasn't there. We're looking for a Kofal
Where does he bring the Kafale Market Gigas?
In Vav, no?
No.
It's a good guess.
Right here. Here. Right here. We're in Yud.
Oh, it's all over.
Okay? Yesh Leimar. Before Ve'ininu. The Mea Taimim. You see it?
Top line.
Mea Taimim Sheb Matan Torah was only the Aschola. V'mea Chashverish Hoysa HaKabola. Who? Ki zeh she'ikdimu nasa l'nishma b'matan Torah because Kaf Aleim HaKegigis. Gilui Milmayla. So a Gilui is a Kfir. V'mea Chashverish was Mitzad Atzmos. This is really, in other words, what we discussed, the whole, really here is the juice, right? Really. Yeah, it's very, very powerful. Let's take, right, so in Ois Tes, he brings this idea. Let's read Yud, okay? In Ois Tes, he brings this famous idea that Yidden, that in Russia, Meiser Nefesh, but in other words, we have to come to a new place now. Just the fact that we're in Golos should crush someone completely. Let's read some of these words actually in Ve'ininu in Tes. You see?
Is that your Israel?
Yeah. Ve'ininu. I got this from the Rebbe, this booklet. Ve'ininu. Dezeh she'Yisrael heim shvurim. Mizeh she'heim begolos. The fact that a Yid is bothered, broken.
From the Rebbe, this is the last memory he said.
Yes, he gave out.
It
He
gave out.
Gave out.
Oh, the last memory he gave
Gam kisheyesh lehem harchava begashmius uberuchnius. Even when they're doing well physically and spiritually, they have many shiurim and daf yoimi. There are websites promoting Hasidus. It's like amazing, but they're still crushed. What is our true desire? That godliness should be revealed in the world. This desire is this yearning for revelation of Elikus in the world is his whole Metzius. Zeh shebizman agolus ein meir gili elikus k'mei shoye bizman abayis. Befrat k'shemizbein bezeh she'amru Razal, when a person thinks about what the Chazal say, that kol mishalei nivne beis hamikdash b'yomav, harei zeh kilu nechrav b'yomav, anyone of the beis hamikdash wasn't built in his days, is as if it was destroyed. Hine mizeh atzmai. From this itself, from this idea, is that in ganzen zu treset. He's completely shaken up. Kosses, he's crushed. V'gam kishu bedagen nailis b'yoser. A person could be at the level shemeir etzle gilia likus bedugmas hagilu shahaya bizman abayis. A person who experiences mamish divine revelation like in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. But mikol mokem, he's still bothered. Mizeh shebechlolos ha'elam ein meir agilui. Muchach, this alone forces him to recognize Shagam agili shemer etzlehu gili mugbu. Shemer gili erin sof hablik vu hagili hu b'chol mokem. If true infinite godliness would be revealed, it would be experienced everywhere. If there's one place, afilu pina nidachas, even a far corner, she'ein meir sham gili elikus, hu mipnei shehagilui gam ba'amokim shomeir is a gili mugbu.
Here?
Yeah. And then he brings a word from the Alter Rebbe. And I'm sorry, the fact that that this is being recorded for posterity keeps me from saying what I'm saying now. But the Rebbe brings something here from the Alter Rebbe, which is found in other faiths. Lahavdil. Or maybe not, I don't know, I'm not a theologian. In the Alter Rebbe brings, the Isa b'tikunim, it says in Tikunei Zohar, Sha'afilu im haya tzadik echad, chayzer b'tshuva shlema b'dayrei, hayabah Mashiach. If one person would do complete tshuva, Mashiach will come for the entire world. Why? Because ayidei tshuva shlema, complete tshuva, is mamshich li erin sof ha'balik vu. The gilui zehu b'chol mokim, it has to be experienced everywhere.
Wow.
In other words,
That's the best raya that Mashiach is the Rebbe. Because you want to tell me the Rebbe to come to tshuva.
the idea is, this idea that how much responsibility do I have for the whole world?
But if you start from yourself, you change. You affect everything.
Like the world around me, I worry about me. Yeah, but if you redeem yourself, the whole world would be redeemed. Umizeh she'ein meir etzle gili atmos erein seif hu nishbar v'nitke. He's crushed, kosses. Yeah. And this is negia his etzemitzias.
But crash is good, like in Alter Rebbe is a sweet, like you have to break the
Shem.
wood in that fire if it's small pieces.
Yeah.
It's sharp.
Right.
Yeah. What are we going to do? We have to learn some of this. So we have to, maybe we'll work on this Shabbos. What I spoke about earlier by heart, in other words, not by heart, whatever. The idea, this Alter Rebbe really gets to in you. In other words, the ultimate etzem of a person, the true core of a person, is the core of his entire being. So, the way we behave, what we do, if I have to force myself to align with it feels unnatural. There's still something wrong. And that's why here, let me say it for a minute in the context of Tanya. Right? What does the Alter Rebbe say in Perek Chafei? A person should think about that you would be ready to be meiser nefesh for Avodah Zarah. Realize that every Aveda is Avodah Zarah. And no one's asking you to die. Just a little iskafia. You should gladly do iskafia. But what's happening? I'm erasing myself. I'm still erasing. But I have to break myself. But the Rebbe is saying here is, let's go to a higher place. You don't have to think about Avodah Zarah. What do you truly want? What do you truly want? You truly want to live a life like a Jew. Why do you have to think about idol worship? Where are you going to be in the best place? You'll experience the best life. And that's the Naki, that's the Naki, that's the Nakudah. Okay, Yashakayach, everyone who joined online. I'll just note, the Rebbe gave out this booklet with $2 bills for tzedakah. And also, I don't believe the Rebbe was at the Farbrengen of Purim Katan Tafresh Pei Zayin. The Rebbe was clearly, they have documents that the Rebbe was there Purim Pei Zayin. In other words, we know that the Rebbe was there on Purim, but not Purim Katan. So that's just a footnote. Shukayach everyone for joining.